Hello everyone, how are you? Welcome to the second part of the series where we will deploy an EC2 instance to our provision network. If you are watching this series for the first time, kindly do watch the first video where I have explained how to develop the network infrastructure from scratch via Terraform. Link is in the description box and above. In this part, we will prepare our server or the EC2 instance for deployment of Java-based solution. We will provision this compute infrastructure with Terraform and create the key pair as well. The private key pair is needed when we log into the particular instance. I will show you how to create the public key and private key for an EC2 instance using Terraform. We will also create EC2 security group and attach it to our instance. Everything will be done by Terraform. So again, if you are new to this channel, kindly like, share, subscribe for more latest updates and comments your thoughts as well, and sit tight and enjoy. So in this part of this video, we are going to spin up an EC2 instance in our public subnet. If you have not watched my previous video, what we have done there is that we have created entire VPC infrastructure with Terraform there. So if you want to learn the previous part, how have we done that, please go and watch the first part of the series where we have launched the entire VPC architecture with Terraform. So in this part, we will launch an EC2 instance as well with Terraform from scratch. And we will launch this EC2 instance just for our application to be hosted there in cloud. So in the third part that is coming in next, we will place all of our Java-based application here in the EC2 instance, and we will see that the application is in cloud hosted. So to be precise, in the second part of this video, we have placed or we will place an EC2 instance in our public subnet of VPC infrastructure of AWS account, and we will do it from scratch. We will also create a key pair which will be associated with EC2 instance, and with that key pair we will also log into the EC2 instance. To be very easy, I have placed the EC2 instance in the public subnet, but in production environment, try to place the EC2 instance in the private subnet and access the EC2 instance with an application load balancer or any other medium if you want. But to keep it very simple, I have placed the EC2 instance in the public subnet, and we will launch the instance and we will access the instance with SSH port. To keep the EC2 instance in private subnet in actual production environment, you just have to tweak the subnet settings that I will show you in the EC2 instance. That's it. Apart from that, we don't have to do anything else. But to make this again, this video very simple, we have placed this EC2 instance in public subnet. Now let's go to the next one. So what we will do here in this video, so we will play around with Terraform module. So everything we have done is with Terraform module. Whatever is like creating a key pair, creating an EC2 instance, we have also done with Terraform module. Next, we will show that how you can pass the variables among module. So why is it required? Because suppose we are creating one VPC infrastructure, and from VPC infrastructure, within that VPC, within that subnet, we will install or we will create one EC2 instance. So we need the subnet ID. So to have the subnet ID, we need to pass the subnet ID from one module, from my VPC module to my EC2 module. So that's why we need to pass variable among the modules. So I will also show you how to do that. Next, I will show you what is the concept of Terraform outputs. Why is it required? So Terraform outputs is the one where we will pass the variables from one module to another. Next, I will show you how to connect an EC2 instance or connect an EC2 instance with the private key. How to create the private key, how to store the private key, how to create a public key for the EC2 instance with Terraform, and how to store it. Next, I will show you this is the one that we have already discussed, that create an EC2 key pair from scratch and to store it, and then to log in with the key pair using SSH. And this is the last one where I will show you what is the concept of SSH into EC2, how to connect with EC2. So everything we will do with Terraform, everything we will do from scratch with Terraform. So the entire video is about launching an EC2 instance in a public subnet of a VPC infrastructure that we have already designed. and to connect to the EC2 instance with SSH key pair that we will also generate in this video. Also, the key pair generation we will also do from scratch. So I hope you will enjoy this video. So let's now go to the practical. So here, if you see, I have opened up a couple of things. First of all, I have opened the GitHub repository where the code is there. The code that I will show you in this video, each and everything has been uploaded in this repository, and I will make it public, and I will give the link in the description box so that you can clone and download the code and just deploy the whole infrastructure in your native cloud. Then I have also opened up the AWS console. In this account, I will be deploying my whole infrastructure as well as the EC2 instance. This is where I have opened up the account, and I will use the North Virginia region. So this is the code and this is the account, and I have also configured my AWS credentials here in my local terminal so that I can do Terraform apply there directly. So you need to do this one. So first of all, you need to download the code from here. Then you need to sign in, log into the AWS console, and you need to do AWS configure to configure the credentials. So I have downloaded the GitHub repository code in my local, and I have already opened up with this with my IDE the code. If you see here, these are the 3 modules that we will be creating. So if you have not seen again, the network infrastructure of the in my the previous video, how have we created the VPC, subnets, route tables, and everything, please go watch this video before watching this one. That will give you an idea how to set up the network infrastructure, because I am not going to cover that in this round or in this video. So I hope you have already seen that, or you will see that. So the only part that I will be covering here is to launch an EC2 instance in the public subnet. So to do that from scratch, what have we done here? So first of all, let me give a prerequisites. What I have done is that I will use the S3 backend to store my Terraform state, and also I will use the dynamodb locking for that. Only one only one at a time can deploy the infrastructure as code. So somehow my bucket name is different, so I will change the bucket name. So anyway, you can give whatever bucket name you want. So I have given this bucket name. So this is how I will store my backend state information remotely. Then the next part is the provider. So I have configured that the AWS provider should be Terraform provider should be AWS, and the version is greater than 4. So this is the provider. This is same. I hope you all know it. And I will use the region as US East 1 as my default region. That's fine. Now, in the Terraform TF bars, you already know that if we need to provide some variable to my Terraform whole infrastructure, how can we do that? We can do it in Terraform TF bars. So basically, I am providing the instance type T2 micro and my CIDR range here with the TF bar information, so that I don't have to give it every time it asks me. So now the main part, how we will spin up an EC2 instance in the subnet. So if I go to my main.tf, so in my main.tf, the module VPC that we have already discussed in my previous video or the first video of this playlist. So you will see that how we have generated this VPC infrastructure there. So I am not going to talk about this one. So the 2 part that we will be generating now in this module is that module key pair. So the key pair that is needed to log into EC2 instance, and the EC2 instance itself. So let's go one by one. So let's go to the key pair. So what is this key pair? So the key pair is, we will go to the source AWS Terraform AWS key pair. So if I go here, Terraform AWS key pair in the key pair.tf, this is the main part it will come. And what have we done? We have created 2 resources. One is the private key algorithm. This is the algorithm, and the type is RSA, and the bits is 4096, which is secure. So this is a RSA 4096 bits algorithm that we are using for my key pair generation. And where are we using? We are using here in the resource section. In the resource section, we are creating one AWS key pair. So don't confuse between these two. This is a TLS private key type. What is my type of the key? And this is my actual key pair. So AWS key pair, and this is the logical name generated key. This is not so much important, but it is important to give the output. So this is AWS key pair, and we have to provide the key name. So I'm providing the name as AWS key pair, and to generate the public key, how to generate the public key and how to generate the private key. So public key is the one where we are saying that this is the TLS private key. TLS private key type. We will use the TLS private key of this one. This is the algorithm. So whenever we will say that Terraform generated private key, it will come here and it will take the algorithm and RSA bit, and then the last part is the public key open SSH. So this is the property by which we will generate the public key, and this is the public key that will be generated and associated with the EC2 instance. And how to generate the private key? So for private key generation, we have used the local execution. So the local execution is the one where it will execute locally. It will not go remotely. That is your AWS environment. So the provisioner is local execution. So it will execute locally. And the command is echo. So this will generate the private key. So this is the same. So this part is same where this part. So this will refer to this resource here, and it will generate a private key, and the private key name, it will output the whole private key content in AWS keypair.pem. So this is my private key, and it will also change the execution of the private key to 400, so that we can use directly this private key and log into the EC2 instance. And this is the end. This is the end of this command. And so by this resource, we are generating two type of key. One is the public key, which will be associated with the EC2 instance, and another one is the private key, which we will keep in our end to log into the EC2 instance. So whenever we will log into the EC2 instance, there are two steps. So EC2 will hold the public key, and we will hold the private key, and we will use this private key to log into the EC2 instance. So whenever we will go to the EC2 instance, it will check the corresponding private key that we will providing to the public key it has associated with it, and if that is matching, then we will be able to log into the EC2 instance. So this is fine. So this is how we are generating the public key and private key. Now the part is we have to refer to this public key, or we have to give this public key to our instance for reference. So for that, we have generated this output. So this output actually holds the value of AWS key pair. The value is AWS key pair generated key. This is the logical key that I was talking about. This is the one generated key. So the AWS key pair dot generated key dot key name. So it holds the key name. So the value of the output is the key name, and we will use this value to create the instance. So how we'll pass that? So we have now taken the output from the key pair module as key pair name, but we have to pass this output to our instance. So how can we pass that? Now if I go to main.tf in the module instance, this is the module by which we will create the instance, EC2 instance itself. If we see here AWS key pair, by this line we are passing the key pair name to our instance module. So my AWS key pair is that module. So which module is the key pair module? This key pair module, and this key pair module should have a output called AWS key pair, and we have seen that we have a output AWS key pair. So it is taking the output from here. It is taking the output from here, and it is passing the output, passing it as a variable to instance. So for that, we have to create one variable here, AWS key pair, to hold the value that is coming from the module AWS key pair. So it will hold the values. This is how we have passed. So in my main.tf, if I go back again, so I have passed the key pair name, this module AWS key pair name, to my instance module. So this is how you pass values from one module to another module. So give you another example. So in the previous video, I have created one VPC, but to create an instance, we need two part from this, or two variable from this module. One is the VPC ID, and another one is the subnet ID, because we will launch our EC2 instance in the public subnet. So to get that, we need to get the VPC ID from my VPC module and subnet ID from my VPC module as well. So my VPC should output these two value. So if I go to VPC and output.tf, I can see that I am outputting this two value, VPC ID and the public subnet. This two value I am giving as output from my VPC module, and inside my main.tf I am passing those two value. This is my public subnet and VPC ID to my instance module, and in the instance itself, to hold the value of my VPC and public subnet, I have created two variable. This is the production VPC, this will hold the VPC ID, and this is my public subnet, this will hold the public subnet ID. This is very simple. So if you understand it, it is very simple. How can we pass the value? So this is how we pass the value from one module to another. First of all, you have to create one output file from where you want to pass the value. Then you have to pass the value itself in the module, in the main file, in the instance where you will be passing the, or where you will be using the value, and you have to create one variable in that module to hold the value. So this is how I have passed from VPC and subnet from my VPC module, and key pair from my key pair module. And now let's go to my instance and let's see what have we done there. So in my instance, we have the ec2.tf. If I open the ec2.tf, we see that we are creating one resource. The resource is AWS instance, and this is my logical ID of the resource, ec2 example. And the AMI, what is the AMI? So we are taking the AMI from variable AMIs and the region. So this lookup value is, this lookup function is actually combination of it is a combination function. So how it works, it will go to AMI first, variable AMIs, and from there it will go to the region. So I have couple of AMIs. So if I have multiple AMIs, suppose I have 5 AMIs, but I want only one AMI for one region, so I have to define that somewhere. So now if I go to my variable, I see that in my AMIs, this is my variable AMIs, and this one I have kept as this. So AMIs is that where AMIs and where AWS region. So these are two variable. So first of all, in loop, the lookup function will come here as where AMIs. So here, then it will see that it has multiple values. So as a key pair, and the key is region combination. So for US East 1, use this AMI, EU West 1, use this AMI, EU West 2, use this AMI. But how do we know which region to use? So for that, I am passing another variable called where AWS region. See, this is the default region, and my default region, as I have already said, I am using US East 1. So it will come to this AMIs block, and it will see that I have US East 1, and it will take this AMI value. So this AMI, I am not sure if it still exists. Maybe I will change this one so that our function runs. So if you also want to run a particular AMI in a region, please change this combination here, then it will work. This is the lookup function. So this lookup function is very useful if you want to use a combination of key pair value in your module. Then we are selecting the instance type. My instance type is where instance type that we will pass. So we have passed already that in the tf file that my instance type is T2 micro. And then the security group. So the security group here we are creating, so VPC security group IDs. So we have to give that. So this security group IDs we are creating here in the security group.tf. So here in this security group.tf, we are creating one resource called AWS security group. And the VPC ID that we have taken from the VPC module in the same VPC that where my EC2 instance is. So that makes sense, right? And the name is the public security group. This is the name. And this for the security group ingress rule, I have created one dynamic block. So what it will do, so the dynamic block name is ingress because this is the ingress rule, and it has a for each loop. So what is the for each loop? So it will take the variable SG ports public. So let's go to the variable first. So it will take the variable here SG ports public. This I have defined in the vats.tf, and it will take the value 22 and 80. These are the port. This is the SSH port and this is the HTTP port. So first of all, it will take two values, and for each loop, that means this loop will run two times. So the first time the value will be, 22, and this one also will be 22. So the first time it will come here and it will run as 22, and this will give 22, and the protocol will be TCP, and the CIDR block, I have to change this CIDR block because this CIDR block should only open or port 22 should only be open from my local computer. So I will give my IP address here later, or we can do it right now. Let's go to Safari, and then what is my IP? So if I type in what is my IP, it will give me my IP 88.68.100.222. So this is, I think this is same. This has not been changed, so this is same, and I am only allowing one IP address, that is my IP address here. So on the second time also it will take the variable as 80, and it will come here, and for the second round it will be 80. This will be 80, and it will create another inbound rule for my security group, and this is done. So this will be done. And for egress, I have opened the EC2 egress rule for each and every port. So this is also fine. So this is how we create a security group in Terraform, and I am referring to that security group here in my EC2 instance. So VPC security group IDs. So I have given the public EC2 security group ID, this one. Next, we need the subnet ID. So where my EC2 instance will be launched. So will it be in public subnet? Will it be in private subnet? So if you want to launch the EC2 instance in private subnet, this part only you have to change. So this is what I was talking about when I was saying that in production, please raise this EC2 or spin up this EC2 instance in private subnet. So this part you have to change, and you have to also provide the value or pass the private subnet ID value in the main.tf here. And this is simple. So this is how I am saying that in the public subnet itself, launch this EC2 instance. Next is the key name. This is the key name which we have created from the key pair module. This module where we are outputting the key pair name, and this is the same output I am using as variable, where we have also hold the key pair name in the variable and using the variable in the key name here. Now on the next part, I have given the tags for the EC2 instance, and this part is very important. So this is depends on, I have given as so depends on the key pair. So the key pair will first be created, then the instance will be created. Otherwise, if the instance is created first and it tries to refer to the key pair which is not yet created, then it will get an error. So this is why I have given this depends on block. And the next is the connection for Terraform connection block. So this is not needed. We will do the connection manually. So maybe we can delete this block here. So this is my instance, and this is how you create an EC2 instance. So as everything is done now, so let's go ahead and deploy the whole infrastructure. So if we deploy the entire infrastructure, so as I am doing again from scratch, so it will again create the VPC subnets and everything, and then it will deploy my EC2 instance to the public subnet that we will create. So now let's go to the terminal first. So first of all, you have to do this AWS configure to with your access key and secret key that I have already done. Let's clear the screen first, and let's do Terraform initialization. So let's initialize it first. So it is initializing the backend. Okay, so this is what I was also expecting after giving the command. So we didn't created any S3 bucket or dynamodb, so we have to create it first. So let's clear the screen and let's go back to our content, and what we are going to do, we are going to go into backend, and in backend we are going to take the bucket, and this is my console. we go to S3. So this is what you also need to do if you are following through this video or using this code. You have to create one S3 bucket. So this bucket is needed to hold my state. So my bucket is created, and next what we need is the dynamodb. So this is the dynamodb that we are going to create next. So we will say dynamodb, and we open up the dynamodb, create table, give the table name, and lock id. This is the partition key, or this is the primary key that will hold the lock id. This is very important, so you need to give lock id itself is the primary key, otherwise it will not work, because the variable name is lock id itself. So my partition key is also there. So my dynamodb table is created, my S3 bucket is created. Now hopefully it should work. Now let's do terraform init again. So it is saying that initialize the backend. What it is saying, that successfully configured the backend to S3. Terraform will automatically use this backend unless the backend configuration changes. So we will not change the backend configuration. So every time we do Terraform plan or deploy, it will configure the backend from my S3 bucket. So it has installed couple of things. First of all, it has installed the AWS version matching greater than 4, which is 4.65, and then Terraform, it has created the log file. It has also initialized here all the modules. It has also initialized all the modules by this Terraform init. So I will again clear the screen, and let's go to our workspace. Let's see what happened. So my Terraform log file has been created, and the modules and providers has been generated, and state file has been created. So this is the local state file. So we don't, so the state file is created, we don't know yet, or the state file don't know yet which resources are still need to be created. So as soon as we do here, so now let's come back here and do a Terraform format to format our code. So my code is now formatted. Now do Terraform plan. Let's see what plan it will execute. So as soon as I do Terraform plan, it will automatically validate all my infrastructure or all my code there. So it says that acquiring state lock. That means the state lock is being acquired from the DynamoDB. So now if I go to my DynamoDB, explore table item, and run again the scan, I see that the lock ID is generated and the locking is done by me. This is my name. So again, it will take some time. Now it says that the whole plan is generated, and plan is to 16 resources to add. What are the addition is that this is the module AWS VPC, production VPC will be created, subnet, public subnet will be created, module VPC subnet, private subnet will be created, route tables will be created, then my VPC route table will be created, the AWS route will be created. So this is all we have created in my previous video. Please go watch that if you have not done that. NAT gateway. The main part here in this video is here. This is the key pair. So AWS key pair will be created. This is the key name that we have already given, AWS key pair. By this name, it will create two key pair. One is public and one is private. Private one will hold here in my local machine, and public will go to my EC2 instance. This is the security group, AWS security group. It will create that we have given as a resource. And if you see the CIDR block, this is the egress block. This is the egress block, and the CIDR block ranges is the one. This is the output block, so nothing is fancy. In the egress block, if you see, this is my IP. From my IP, it is creating one for port 22 and one for port 80. If you remember the variable, we have given two variable, 22 and 80. This is why it is creating two row there, two inputs there. Now the main part is this one. This will create a resource AWS EC2 instance, and this will it will take the AMI ID. If you remember, I said that I have to check the AMI ID. So I will check the AMI ID now, and the AWS key pair as well. And this is the tag name and everything. Everything is that's it. So what I am going to do now, I am going to take this AMI ID, or I am going to check if this AMI ID exists on my US East 1 region or not. So let's clear the screen, go back to EC2. So this is very important. If you don't have the AMI ID in that region, so that will not work. So I will go to AMIs and I will select public images, and let's see which AMI we are talking about. So my EC2 in the vars.tf, I have this AMI. Let's see if this AMI exists or not. So my AMI ID will be equals this one. So does this exist? So okay, I see that the AMI is already there. So we don't have any problem, or we will not be having any problem here. So this AMI ID is fine. So this AMI ID will be there. This is fine. So my EC2 instance will be created automatically. This is fine. Now if I go back here, so I have cleared the screen. Again I will do, what is that, Terraform apply. Now this is the main part. Whenever I will do Terraform apply, it will be applied, the whole plan will be applied, whatever plan it has generated before, the whole plan will be applied to my AWS console. So let's see if I do Terraform apply now. So again it will check the state locking, and nothing has been generated yet here. I can see a couple of things. So it says that 16 to add. This is what we have seen in the plan. So I am fine with it. So I will do yes. Now let's see. So first of all, if you see, it is creating the private key. And then the production VPC, elastic IP, the network infrastructure is created. The local execution, key pair local execution is being created. Now if I go back to my console, my code base, I see that my key pair, my private key pair has been generated here. So this is my private key pair, this is the algorithm, this is the key size, and this is the value of the key pair. So this is generated. So this key pair is being generated, and let's wait for some time now. Okay, now I see my plan has been, my resource or the application has been done. So resources 16 has been added. Now let's go back to our console and see what has been changed there. So if I go to my instance, I see one instance is created. So this is what Terraform EC2. Now let's go one by one. First of all, let's let's go to key pair. So my key pair, this is the public key pair that has been generated, and it is storing here. So this is fine. This is generated. And my instance, if I come back here, and my instance is here, and it has here, where is the key pair? I can let's see. Oh, this is the key pair. So this is the associated key pair, and the instance has a public IP, public IP DNS name also it has generated. And let's go to security for check. So in my security group, I can see it is actually allowing port 80 and 22 from my IP address to only my IP address, and all port ranges for all other thing. The output is generated. The outbound connection is open to all, and for inbound only from my connection or only from my IP, port 80 and port 22 is open. So this is how we have created the EC2 instance. And one more thing is to check is that this EC2 instance is in public subnet. So this is why the public IP is associated with it. And we have, this is my production VPC that we have created. Let's go to the VPC, and this is my public subnet also that we have created. So this is the production VPC. We have created this production VPC now from our infrastructure, and the EC2 instance is also associated with this production VPC. And this is my subnet. This subnet holds the EC2 instance. So if you see the CIDR range 10 0 1 0 24, if I go to my EC2 instance, if I see that 10 0 1, this is the range. 1209 is the one that has been allocated to my EC2 instance. So my this is the public subnet. This holds my EC2 instance. So this is fine. So what we have done till now is that we have created one EC2 instance within the pub. Let me just do a bit more zoom here. So we have created the entire VPC infrastructure again, and we have placed one EC2 instance in the public subnet with our Terraform. So everything is done. So this code base actually now applied, and the whole infrastructure and the VPC and EC2 instance has been created. Now the next part is to log into this instance with the AWS key pair. So to log in, I can see here that if you go to, again, if we go to the instance, select the instance, and there is a connect button. So if you go to the connect button, you see the SSH command here. So this is the SSH command that we will be using. So it refers to that, it says that SSH minus I is that one where we will refer the key pair, and this says that AWS key pair.pem. If you remember, by local execution we have generated the key pair in my locally, and this one will be used to log into the instance here. Now I will copy this command here, and I will come back to my terminal, clear the screen, and I will also validate my key pair is here. This one is my pim file is already there. So I will paste the command. The only change I need is I don't want to log into the EC2 instance with root. Rather, I will change it to EC2 user. So this is it. So SSH, I'm saying that do SSH with EC2 user using this key pair value, and I will hit enter. So it will ask me that if this connection is okay for you or not. So I will say yes, and then I am inside my EC2 instance. So if we see that the last login is now my Amazon Linux 2, so I am inside the EC2 instance. So if I do ls, I will hopefully see the no hub dot out. So this is so my I have logged into the EC2 instance using my generated key pair, and the EC2 instance connection is now working. So this is what I wanted to show you here in this video, how to use our existing network infrastructure and spin up one EC2 instance with the key pair that we will be generating from scratch. So we have done that, and we can see that we are inside the EC2 instance now. So that's it in this video. In the next part of this video, we will deploy one Java based solution to this instance itself, and also we will access the solution from our local. So till then, I hope you enjoy this video. If you are new to this channel, kindly like, share, subscribe, and give your comment in the comment box. I will be back with the third part of this video, where again I will be deploying a Java based solution to the EC2 instance. Till then, take care. Goodbye.